Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was a One-of-a-Kind Prodigy. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Was a Perfect Experiment, and I enjoyed that guys over in Anime King 3, and if you're new, yes. I have more than one channel, actually I have 3. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what you find every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode start? The intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Tsunade was currently at a bar, as Naruto's home was demolished. Well, after she saw the state that he was in, she had it demolished, so Naruto had to move into the Senju compound with her. As Jiraiya appeared, as he sat down, Jiraiya started to talk about when he was younger, that he had a few run-ins with a few older women. As the more he talked, the more angry Tsunade got, as she told him that he had no right to judge her, as he had his chance in the past but he blew it. They had a lot of bad blood between each other, as there was a lot of anger there, resulting to the point where Tsunade smashed the table. She completely obliterated it, as she told Jiraiya to move on, as she quickly made her way off. Meanwhile, as Naruto was in his room with a ring, the ring was a transmitter as he was brought in a cave, surrounded by all kind of people, as his eyes locked on Konan's because they looked so much like Tsunade's. As Naruto spoke to the holograms, the leader with the Rinnegan eyes, as he told Pain what he heard from Jiraiya about these 3 little kids that he had took in the war. As Jiraiya thought that they were all dead, but concerning this man's eyes, he didn't know, it was just speculation. But he told him that he will squash all of them. He will step on your throats, he will kill them all. Yes, and he was dead serious as he spoke. As Naruto exited that little hologram, he then made his way, as he saw Tsunade in tears. As Naruto was quickly able to estimate that Jiraiya was the cause of this, she stopped him though, as she was able to calm him down. As she told him that she knew after she headed off to her room. The time then finally came as Naruto was supposed to perform the test, as everyone was there, as Team 10 was getting ready. But Tsunade was too late to notice that Jiraiya was also there, as Naruto made his way towards Jiraiya. They started to talk as Naruto started to get violent, until it turned out into a full battle. Jiraiya was caught off guard as Naruto's speed was nothing normal, as Naruto beat the living crap out of him. As Guy and Kakashi had to jump in the way, Tsunade had to jump in front of him, as she held on to him, calming him down, because no one else could, because Naruto was about to go through all of them. But she was able to calm him, as he released a breath, as she told him that test was over, they were going to go home. Time passed as Naruto stood on the monument. It has been a few weeks since his battle with Jiraiya, as he's been avoiding the man at all costs. Both him and Shikamaru spoke on the monument before Naruto headed off, as Pain was pushing up the agenda. Given the fact that Naruto returned early, well, he was still pushing his plan forward as he told Saucer and Deidara to go after the Jinchuriki. Konan found him as she was talking to him. As Konan was getting against his ideals, he got angry at that, and mistakenly said that she's forsaking Yaiko's dream. Konan lost it in anger. This has been something that was penned up in her for a while now, and she was angry. How could he say that? How could he say that she has forsaken Yaiko's dream? She spat in rage. He has been using Yaiko's body like a puppet the entire time. She had enough. As she raised her papers in the air, she obliterated the building that they were in. He was caught off guard by that as he jumped away, never expecting her to actually do it. As he felt the build-up of chakra, she was really gonna attack him. So yeah guys, it was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it for yourself. So this to begin this new episode. You dare accuse me of turning my back on Yaiko? Who do you think you are? We took you in, we raised you, we fed you. A tsunami of paper flooded into the room under Konan's control. As it exploded, forcing the Yaiko puppet to retreat, the top of the building was reduced to dust. Pain landed on the adjacent tower of the building. Looking at the smoke rising up in the air, he glanced toward the sky as the rain started to fall faster and harder. The puppet of Yaiko frowned in confusion before he looked up towards Konan, who was floating in the air, her face twisted in anger. I've stood by your side for the past 20 years, and I've watched you kill people just for questioning you. Even now, you parade Yaiko around like a goddamn doll. He deserved to be laid to rest. As she raised both palms in the air, her hands facing the sky, her actions caused him to widen his eyes in shock. Surely, she wouldn't use that jutsu on him. I've stood by your side long enough. I won't stand by any longer and let you do as you please. If I die, then so be it. The rain started to flow in his descent. As Konan chakra spiked, the thunderclouds that surrounded the hidden rain parted as a ray of sunshine blasted in the hidden rain village. I won't let Yaiko's vision be ruined by you, Nagato. His legacy, his dreams, his ambition. You spit on them. The sunshine that illuminated the village disappeared as clouds started to form in the sky. A heavy frown came on Nagato's face as the remaining paths flashed beside him. It seems Konan had truly made her decision. There was no redeeming her now. She was actively putting the hidden rain in danger. Nagato would not allow it, as the Deva path slowly raised his right palm right towards her. The Rinnegan glowed slightly as Nagato pushed his chakra through the receivers. Several seconds passed before the man frowned in confusion. What was happening? Why was the Deva path not responding? Pain frowned as the clouds started to blanket the entire village and casting the village into nothing but darkness. I've been around you long enough to know the ins and outs of your eyes. I am well aware that I am no match for the 6 paths of Pain, but I am never unprepared. Pain looked at her for a single second, before Nagato eyes widened. If I die, then at least I die with the knowledge that I tried to make a change for the better, said Konan. Nagato grit his teeth as he turned towards a paper clone who was on top of the machine that kept him alive. His body was too weak from being connected to the Gedo statue. He had sent the 6 paths of Pain to Tendo because of the threat Konan jutsu proposed. She would level the entire village if she released that jutsu here. The clone of Konan looked towards the access pods that kept Nagato puppets in control. As she looked towards the main chakra receiver that belonged to the Deva and Azura path, those two were the true threats of his paths. The rest of the group was melee, support types. Negating the 2 strongest was a main option here. As Nagato glared coldly towards Konan, who stood on top of the main pod in the room. He couldn't reach her due to his weakened state, and the others couldn't get back in time to reach her clone. Meanwhile, outside, sweat started to fall down Konan's face as blood dripped from her nose. Her hair flailed wildly in the air as other paths moved to stop her. Several attempted attacks were failed because of the height that she was in the air, as Konan matched her teeth together. Pain eye widened as the dark sky started to split down the middle. The majestic split revealed an ocean of paper tag emerging from the dark sky. As it expanded as far as the eye could see, the Rinnegan user looked at billions upon billions of paper tag. Konan raised her head towards the falling papers with a tired sigh as she lowered both of her arms. The tag started to fall down to the village, smothering it in pure white. I developed this jutsu in the off chance that Tobe betrayed us, but it seems you did that on your own. The Hidden Rain's accursed nation, Nagato. It changed you into a monster. I cannot allow it to exist any longer. There is 2 trillion explosive tags that are falling from the sky. It seems Daedra was not exaggerating about explosions. After all, the billions upon billions of paper tags started to grace the towers in a hidden rain. A soft smile appeared on Conan's face as she placed her palm over her heart. I'm sorry, Yaikoshi said. Meanwhile, Nagito screamed in frustration as the clone of Konan finally disappeared due to lack of chakra. The world seemed to freeze in place as Konan chakra spiked one last time. The world was quiet for several seconds before Konan spoke. Kami no Shisho, she said, as the world went white. Time skip. As Naruto sat under the waterfall. As he molded his chakra, his body twitched before snapping his head in a certain direction. As he was currently in sage mode, he blinked several times before he continued to steer in that direction. A strange anomaly just happened in the world. He was sure that anyone that was a powerful enough sensor or sage could sense it. A ridiculous amount of chakra had spiked. Whoever caused that was no doubt an interesting individual. Focus, Naruto. The deep voice of the Kyuubi snapping back to reality as Naruto rolled his neck. That sensei of yours still hold the key to the seal. Should you relieve him of it, you will be able to balance out the difference of yin chakra from my other half. My father still possesses your yin half. If I want to use the full extent of your power, I need to retrieve his soul from a Shinigami. The corrosive chakra of the Biju start to encase his body. You make it seem like it's impossible to do so. I am not saying that it isn't. It just takes time. Both Biju and Jinchurikis went silent for several minutes. The bubbly corrosive chakra started to thicken before sticking to Naruto's body. The chakra bleed red around him as one of Naruto's eyes turned into a shade of pure white, with four tails swaying behind him, with a fox ears on top of his head. Half of his body was encased in the fox chakra. It was so red, it looked like crimson blood. The water around him started to bubble rapidly as a cloak started to cover the team. But Naruto sat completely still. He showed no signs of trouble to control the Biju power. Several minutes passed by before a fifth tail appeared. The lake exploded outwards because of the amount of pressure that was released. The once giant tail was now reduced to a swimming pool for children. As Naruto sat in a crater, he still remained still as sweat started to drip down his face. His face started to grimace as a sixth tail emerged from his back, followed by a skeleton structure of the fox. Half of a bone skull formed in his head that connected to a spinal cord that went down into his back. His teeth pulled back in a grimace as he struggled to control the Biju's chakra. That's enough. Naruto exhaled as a cloak vanished away from his body. The bone fell away from his body and turned into dust particles before vanishing. He glanced around and now noticed that he sat in a massive crater. The giant crater spanning about 30 meters. As Naruto jumped out of it, as he cracked his neck, 6 tails is still the limit, said Naruto, as he glanced where the chakra anomaly had went off a few minutes ago. You're only able to possess 6 tails because of your stage mode. It's not that you can't control more than 6 tails. It's the fact that you're lacking my other half. It is causing an unbalance. As Naruto placed his hand in his pockets, as he walked towards the direction where he sensed a chakra anomaly. You have explained this many times, Kurama, he said. And yet you choose to remain idle. You wish to control the entirety of my chakra, but you do not actively seek to do so. I've told you several times why I was not able to get your other half. You would do well to make that woman give you access to the scroll of sealing. After all, the third was the one that forbade you from reading it. Naruto shook his head. I won't take advantage of Tsunade further. My own goal, said Naruto. There it is. The one thing that makes you a human. If I didn't know better, I would say you were just another pain. As the fox took notice of how Naruto's fingers curl in his pockets, I do not hide behind grandeur or inflate my ego by calling myself God. Without the Rinnegan, he's nothing. He will come for you, Naruto. And he will lose those precious eyes, said Naruto. As Naruto kept on walking, ignoring everyone, until he reached the massive gates of Konoha. As he leaped up to the top of the gates, as he steered towards the direction, he went completely still, as he activated Sage Mode. What was the world like before Shinobi's? The fox did not immediately answer the question. It depends on what you're asking, he said. Were there more or less bloodshed, Naruto asked. With the access of chakra, you humans became more creative on how you chose to kill. As for the amount that has been spilled in the soil, There is less bloodshed nowadays. As Naruto was surprised by that, judging by his raise of eyebrow. Can you elaborate, he said. The beast gave a slow exhale before going silent. Before he finally speak, humans has always killed one another. It is embedded in your very souls to do so. Just because you gain a better arsenal on how to dispatch your enemies, that does not necessarily mean that the killing would rise. Before the days of shinobis, mortals would wage war for just about anything. Are you speaking objectively or subjectively, said Naruto. The fox scoffed at his question. Does it matter, he said. Well, he was right, Naruto thought. It didn't really matter. People were gonna do what they thought was right. Like what he was doing as he pleased. You do what you please within reason of that woman that you desire, said Kurama. You speak too much, Kurama, said Naruto. The fox gave a dark chuckle before he went silent. As Naruto got to his full height, as he saw a sand messenger running towards the gate, the individual was pretty fast. Well, all messengers had to be. Naruto watches a man who was surrounded by envoys as they took the scroll from the man and read it. After several seconds, he nodded towards his own group and they disappeared. Naruto closed his eyes and vanished away from his spot. As Naruto reappeared in the office, as he looked at Tsunade, he just looked at her. Tsunade was looking back at him. Staring at me now. I'm flattered, Naruto, she said. He ignored her statement. A scroll from the sand is approaching. As Naruto stepped across the room as her eyes remained on him the entire time, the messenger was moving faster than normal. An envoy member will be here in 32 seconds. Naruto's eyes went over the wall of the Hokages as his eyes roamed over all of them and stopped on the third Hokage. His face twisted a bit in anger as his fist clenched. And how did you get here so fast, huh? Said Tsunade as she noticed his reaction to Hiru's picture. Tsunade was well aware that he despised the man. Naruto wasn't even probably aware of what he just did. He looked towards the fourth Hokage with a raised eyebrow as he was silenced for several seconds before he shrugged. I am the fastest person in this village, he said. Tsunade raised her eyebrow at that. Before she could comment on that, an envoy appeared in the room on his knee. Tsunade held out her hand. The envoy handed her the scroll before bowing. A message from the Sand Council, Hokage-sama. She did not reply as her eyes started to read over the scroll. She finished reading over the scroll as she gestured for the man to leave. He bowed and left. As Tsunade started to jump her fingers and decks, she nodded to herself as she twitched her pinky. As Nico appeared. Bring me Kakashi and Team Guy, now. As Nico nodded and vanished. As Naruto remained silent, he slowly made his way towards her as he sat on the corner of her decks. He closed his eyes as he waited. The only noise was of her drumming her fingers against the decks in the office. Several minutes passed by. The shinobis then entered through the door. She then glanced towards Naruto. Off, she said, as she made a slight shushing motion with her hand, as he glanced towards her with annoyance. But he ignored her as he laid his body on the decks. His back rested against the wooden decks. She shook her head as she started to ignore him. As she looked towards her shinobis, she eyed Kakashi, who had a knowing look on his face. She proceeded to roll her eyes before she spoke. I just received a scroll directly from the Sand Council. It seems that the Akatsuki are finally making their move. As all of the shinobis straightened up at hearing that, she looked down towards Naruto. His eyes were narrowed. It was a slightly amusing Naru, seeing that he was lying down. Two Akatsuki members attacked the hidden sand. As you all know, Gaara is Ichibai Jinchuriki. He has been captured, and the sand is requesting our aid. I called you all here because, quite frankly, you're all I need. Her praise did not go unnoticed as Team Guy raised their head in pride. Team Guy, with the aid of Kakashi, will complete this mission. The younger shinobis glanced at one another before nodded. As Tsunade looked down and placed her finger on Naruto's chest. You will be leading this expedition, Naruto, she said. As he raised the eyebrow at that. Why? Because I said so, she said. The rest of the shinobis watched on in silence, as both blonde stared at each other's eyes. Tenten and Lee were shocked to see someone was challenging her demands. Every Konoha shinobis learned very quickly what the woman wanted she got. Regardless, if you like it or not, sure. He was the nephew of the woman, and she clearly showed favoritism, but he was openly challenging her. He sighed in annoyance. As you wish, Auntie Tsunade, he said. She nodded a pleased smile as she patted his chest. He rolled off the decks and stood on his feet as he looked towards the shinobis he would be now leading. As he placed his hands in his pockets. You do what I say when I say it. If this is a problem, you can stay in Konoha, because I do not need any of you to hunt down these Akatsuki members and rescue Gaara. We leave in 5 minutes, he said. A tiny smirk appeared on Neji's face as he nodded, and disappeared in Sunshin. The other 2 members of Team Guy gave small frowns, as they nod then disappear as well. Mike Guy gave a large grin, as he disappeared in a burst of speed. Kakashi simply shrugged as he walked out of the room. As Naruto slowly turned towards Tsunade, "For what reason should I leave them?" he said. She shrugged with a small smile. "Because I want to annoy you," she said. As Naruto stared at her without responding, she folded her arms across her chest, underneath it to be exact, drawing attention towards her chest, as it caused him to turn away with an annoyed sigh. "They're all natural, in case you're curious," she said. "I was not, but thanks for the information." She grinned. "I made you leader because you will get the job done. Retrieving the Kazekage is the main objective, but I also want the Akatsuki crushed. And who better to do so than my strongest shinobi?" As he glanced towards her, she gestured for him to come closer. As he stepped towards her without hesitation, "Open your hand," she said. "A gift for you and only you." As the blonde held his hand out, a small scroll was placed in his hands. As Tsunade poked his nose, "Don't open it until you get back from this mission. Understood?" He nodded as he sealed the scroll away. He started to turn away as her hand gripped his wrist. The teen paused as she pulled him into a hug. Her head rested on his chest as she spoke in a soft tone. "Be safe, Naruto," she said. As Naruto's arms wrapped around her, his chin resting on top of her locks. "I will return unharmed," he said. She didn't verbally respond, but she gave a nod. They remained that embrace for a couple seconds, before she slowly pulled away. She gave him a smile. She gently poked his chest. "Go. You have a mission after all." As the teen nodded as he started to move towards the door, his hand gripped the knob as Tsunade spoke. "I love you, Naruto," she said. As Naruto paused in his action, as he stood there for several seconds, he did not move or anything. Before he awkwardly nodded his head. You too, Auntie Tsunade," he said. As he disappeared through the door, a small smile came on her face. Despite his awkward response, her glorious plan was all coming together. By her estimate, it will only take several months, a single month, if she truly pushed it. An hour later, Tsunade was in the office. As her hand rested on her cheek, she made a single motion as Nico appeared. "Cancel my appointments and any meeting that acquire my attention," said Tsunade. Nico nodded and disappeared. As Tsunade made her way out of the building, as she made her way towards the Envoy HQ, her thoughts shifted to Naruto and the mission that she sent him on. She doubted that Naruto would let them get away. If things goes as planned, the Akatsuki would be losing 2 more members. Over the past 2 weeks that he's been here, she had gotten a taste of the power that he possessed, and it made her knees quiver in delight. In alluring terms, he was overwhelmingly powerful. In physical strength, he might not compare to her, but in all aspects, he was nothing to scoff at. She realized his anger at Jiraiya had saved Jiraiya's life. If he was calm and level-headed when he was fighting Jiraiya, she was sure only one toad sage would have left in this world, and that would be Naruto. But his anger, he was out of control and angry, and that saved Jiraiya's life. She had also gotten deeper into understanding the man that he was now, in what he used to be. There was very little that had changed in his overall process, but his thought process had changed a lot. He was no longer thinking as logical as he used to. There was something driving him. Getting stronger has always proven to be important to him on some level. It was hard to explain, but she knew that he was gaining this power for some reason. What that reason was, she had no idea. He would skirt her on the subject or outright ignore her question, but she didn't really mind it though. She had her own plans after all. After reaching the bunker for the Envoy HQ, she made her way inside. She gestured with her hand. Several Envoy members appeared around her. "Secure the area. No one come in or out until I leave the building. Also, I don't need an escort." She turned towards Nico. "You come with me," she said. As the Hokage and her personal guard started to walk deeper into the bunker, both women made their way to the high-profile prisons in the Envoy HQ. Only a handful of individuals knew about this prison. Many seals had several seals over them. As they made their way, the light started to dim down. The lower and lower they went, the darker each floor was. Visibility was practically non-existent as they reached their destination. A single rusted door sat at the end of the hallway. Only a single light lit up the hallway. As the place was cast in an eerie tone, Tsunade continued towards the door that was covered with nothing but seals. She placed her palm out in the center of the metal door as she channeled her chakra. A bright flash of kanji appeared. Several snaps of locks being disarmed. The door then slowly opened. "Nico," said Tsunade. The woman nodded as she disappeared. As she stood at the entrance of the hallway, she placed her hand down and several kanji activated. The seals flashed white before they settled down. The masked woman nodded as she closed the door as she stood guard. Tsunade watched as the light lit up the dark room that she was gazing into. She crossed her arms as she waited for the individual to speak. She could wait. Naruto wouldn't return for at least 3 days. Laughter. Laughter could be heard. "To what do I owe the pleasure of this meeting?" Tsunade whined. Tsunade looked into the darkness. The body of Orochimaru Sani finally became visible. The man was chained to the wall by many chains. Seals all over the chains. Tsunade walked in with a bored expression as she looked at her former teammate. Where's your little dog at? Surely he would wish to see me as well." Tsunade raised her heel as she slammed it right on the man's shin. A grunt of pain was a reward as she crossed her arms. "He has a name, and you will use it in my presence," she said, as she started grinding on the bone. As Orochimaru's eyes clenched shut, she continued her actions for several seconds before she stopped. "Any more jokes you wish to tell? I have 3 days' worth of time to make your life even more hell than it is now," she said. Sweat dripped down his face as he gritted away the pain. Tsunade took in his features. He looked malnourished. His cheekbones were visible as his chest went up and down fast because of the pain. "It's been 2 years. Why? Why are you here?" She looked around the empty room. Had it been 2 years since she captured the man? Time truly passed by so quickly. It was impressive that he knew that. She shrugged at the thought. What else was there to do than count in her head so that you could remain sane? "I am pushing my plans forward," said Tsunade. "Pray tell," Orochimaru said. "Why do you need to inform me?" A small smile came on her face as she bent her knees to be on eye level with him. "Because when he comes back, you die." Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at her as he shook his head in amusement. "You can't kill me. You need me," he said. She raised her eyebrow as she flicked him against the forehead. His head slammed against the concrete wall. Blood started to drip down his head as the wall started to repair itself due to the many seals that cover it. "I don't need you alive, Orochimaru. You were kept alive because of information purposes. I was always gonna have him kill you." Orochimaru's eyes were dazed because of her blue as he spat up blood. "I'll find a way. You can't stop me." Tsunade sighed. "You've been out of the loop for 2 years, I'm afraid. I already know how you survived for so long." His eyes was filled with disdain. "You know nothing." "But you see, I know. Sending those children after Sasuke all those years ago was your mistake. I was not expecting a group of Genins to put up a fight against Sound 4. Yes, Genins were strong for their age, especially the ones I sent. But those were your personal bodyguards. Only Naruto could have truly matched them. But color me surprised when I had those 5 boys return back to the village. Yes, 3 were injured and in critical condition, but they were alive. Why am I telling you this? Because one of the Genins had actually apprehended one of your members alive. Teiwai of the North Gate. Incredibly vulgar, but strong. Powerful life force too. Her chakra pool rival many of the elites in Konoha. I thought to myself how, and why that is possible. A simple blood test, and I got the result. A frown formed on Orochimaru's face. "And Uzumaki," said Tsunade. "Under your employ. Now, Orochimaru. What did I always tell you when I was younger?" As she crouched in front of him. "Uzumaki is cherished family above all else. To think that my former teammate would have abducted a living member of my clan and used him for experiments." A glare came on his face. "You are Senju born," he said. "For what reason would you uphold the Uzumaki traditions?" Tsunade slammed her fist into his stomach as he spat up blood that splashed across her face. "Be quiet, I'm speaking," as she blankly looked at the man as she retracted her fist. Teiwai was kept in a medical-induced coma as her body healed after the injuries she sustained in her fight with Shikamaru Nara and Temari. By that time, Naruto and Jiraiya had already started on their journey. She was asleep for several months before waking up. She was confused. Of course, that was to be expected, but it did not take much for her to tell me about you. The promise of having family was embedded deep within her. She's a Uzumaki after all, so it was rather surprising when she told me, "You have another Uzumaki under your hand." Know that? Tsunade placed her index finger on his chest, right where his heart was. That made me truly angry. Carrying Uzumaki, it took me a long while to find information, any, about her. You kept her hidden well, but I found her, and I've already sent shinobis out to retrieve her. You really want to keep her locked away, for good reason as well. From what Teiwai tell me, that girl is one of the sole reasons why your experiments were truly successful. The man glared at her viciously. Those shinobis are dead. My right hand man guards her, carrying is too vital to lose. Tsunade chuckled as she applied pressure to his chest. Oh, I know, which is why, when Naruto returns, he's gonna deal with your little pet. Can you picture it? I know enough about him to know that he wants a family, and I'm gonna give him one. This world, she said, as she leaned a bit closer, will bend to my will, regardless of the fact. If I have to force it or not, and you will be the catalyst. When Naruto returns, I will handle it for you to him. You can't do this! We had a deal, Orochimaru said. Consider it terminated, said Tsunade. Orochimaru started howling anger as he pulled at the metal bindings, as he cursed, shouted insults. Tsunade slammed the door shut, as the seals all started to move back in place. With Everlock reactivating, Orochimaru screamed louder and louder. Tsunade stood behind the metal door, with a cruel smile on her face. Soon, she said. Meanwhile, with Naruto, as they traveled through the thick foliage of trees and leaf, for several hours, the group was mostly silent for the entire journey, save for the occasional murmurs between younger shinobis. As Naruto's thoughts were on what his aunt said to him before he left. I love you, Naruto. His eyes narrowed as he hopped from one tree to another, as that phrase kept on repeating in his head over and over, and thinking about why she said it. She was aware of how strong he truly was, and for her to say that, was she worried about his safety? It didn't make much sense. He didn't know. She had been protective of him when she first laid eyes on him in Tansuka Town. She didn't hide it. Worse when they confronted Orochimaru and Kabuto. After almost killing Kabuto with a Rasengan, Orochimaru believed that he was a true threat. As if their meeting in the Chunin exams did not show him that already. Naruto was not able to react to the man's speed back then, because now he was a hair away from piercing him. The next thing he knew, Tsunade's chakra had exploded around her. She had released her seal and came in front of him and smashed her fist down on the blade. She had punched right through the blade, and she had destroyed it. Surprising, given that he could cut through stone with ease. Orochimaru had quickly retreated, and he was unable to save Kabuto from his demise. Tsunade had stomped directly on Kabuto's skull. That event had made him realize that she would truly keep her promise, what she said when they first met. Naruto came to a stop as he arrived at the border, as his body became completely still. As he activated Sage Mode, he glanced towards the right and stared over there for several seconds. What do you sense, Naruto? Asked Kakashi as he came over beside him. As Naruto was silent for several seconds before nodded. I sense them. It's faint, but I know the direction that they're going. As Naruto thought what to do, truth be told, he had no problem dealing with them himself. He actually preferred that method because he could let loose without harming his team. He made his decision as he rotated his head to look towards Team Guy. Lee, Tenten, head to the sand and inform them that the situation is being handled. Guy, Kakashi, Neji, on me. I prefer to do this alone, but I promise Auntie Tsunade, I will be careful. A shame, I won't be able to stroke my flames of youth. Guy Sensei, fight earnestly, said Lee. Naruto ignored the two males that were now hugging one another, as he looked towards the direction where the two Akatsuki members went, and they took his friend. Whichever members they were, they wouldn't be alive for too long. A minute passed as Team Guy said their goodbyes, as Naruto looked towards Neji, who was beside him, who had his Byakugan activated. Your ability is truly impressive. My Byakugan has a range of 5 kilometers, and I cannot see what you're sensing. What is it called, said Neji. As Naruto raised the eyebrow, Sage Mode, he said, enhanced strength, awareness, and vastly superior sensory capabilities. As Naruto rolled his neck, as several pops went off, as he sighed, the only other person that will be able to put up a good fight with me is another Sage Mode user, which won't happen considering how difficult it is to master. Only 4 people in Elemental Nation is capable of using it, and only 3 of them have perfected the ability. Guy finally made his way towards them, as he gave Naruto a nod for returned gesture. Let's go, said Naruto. They traveled for about another hour, as Naruto informed them that the group had stopped moving an hour ago. Another 10 minutes of travel and they stopped at a mountainside with 10 conches, sprawled over the side, as Naruto walked towards the giant boulder. What do we do, Naruto? Guy said as he scanned the seal, as Kakashi and Neji came over. As Naruto turned towards Neji and told him to activate his Byakugan, Neji spotted several other seals like the one that he was looking at right here at the boulder. I expected that much. I will deal with the seal, said Naruto, as he created 4 clones. He then cut his hand as his blood dripped on the soil, right in front of the seal. This seal is connected to the other 4, and has a fail-safe should it be activated. It is designed to be activated by only a few specific individuals. As he started to write kanji with his blood, as the other man just watched on curiously. There are 2 ways to deactivate it. You could trigger the fail-safe that will alert the individuals inside. In doing so, the fail-safe will respond accordingly, and you will have another mess to deal with. But if you do something like this, said Naruto, a clone poofed beside him as he placed his bloody palm right over the seal. The clone started to go through hand sign. Then I can basically seal this main sealing barrier into this unique formula. He glanced towards his team, who looked confused at his words. He shook his head. Uzumaki Fuinjutsu, he said. Release! Several black kanji spread from his palm, like when someone was summoning. The group watched as the barrier started to wash away, like someone had poured water on it. It started to be sucked into the area where Naruto had his hand placed. The giant boulder started to disappear, like it never existed in the first place. As Naruto looked towards his team, he gave them a small shrug. Seals are easy, people are hard, he said. He started to walk in as the 3 men looked at him in confusion, as they started to hear someone talking. What the hell is taking so long? I thought we would be doing the extractions by now. A deep, gruff voice then spoke. Leader Sama has his reasons. We just need to be patient and wait. It's been like 2 hours. This is just a waste of time. I could be perfecting my art. I already told you, Deidre. Your stupid explosions are not art. Shut it, sorcery. You think your little dumb puppets are art. Puh. Idiocy. The 4 shinobi split the entrance as he looked towards the Akatsuki members, who were bickering like children. As Naruto held out his hand, a Rasengan formed. As Windstalker started to leak into his Rasengan, as the 2 Akatsuki members snapped their eyes towards the group. A massive amount of wind picked up in a small cave as the Rasengan started to rotate even faster. 4 blades started to whip around the Rasengan. The 2 Akatsuki members tensed as the other shinobis beside Naruto that applied chakra to their feet to remain standing. Wind style. Rasen Shuriken, said Naruto. As Naruto threw the Rasen Shuriken right towards them, Deidara grabbed Gaara's unconscious body as he rocketed to escape. A bright flash of light went off as a massive explosion went off in the mountain, trembling the entire place. Dust and smoke kicked up. Naruto waved his hand as a gust blew away all the dust. A gaping hole was created from the blonde's jutsu. The cave was now bright. As Naruto glanced towards the Akatsuki members, Deidara's cloak was now shredded, and there were small holes in his pants. His face was twisted in anger as his visible eye was clenched shut. Blood was covering the left side of his face as he held on to his bisected arm that was sliced off at the shoulder. As Naruto glanced at Sorcerer that was no longer his main puppet, a young man was looking at him, but he knew otherwise. It seemed Sorcerer was no longer human. His puppet body had several tears over it. You're both alive. Maybe your ranks aren't just for show, said Naruto, as he stepped fully inside the destroyed cave. The 2 Akatsuki members glanced towards the boy, who almost ended them with one single shot. The sheer destructive force from that jutsu was beyond insane. It was a condensed ball of millions of microscopic wind blades, and he threw it. He just threw it. Kakashi, Guy, and Neji gazed at the boy with nothing but shock. How much power did he truly possess? He basically just destroyed half a goddamn mountain with a jutsu no less. Vader grit his teeth as he glanced towards sorcery. I thought this the brat wasn't going to be a problem. Sorcerer frowned. It seems he's far stronger than we originally thought. Itachi's death wasn't a fluke. That being the case, we need to retreat. As Naruto raised the eyebrow, you think, I'm gonna let you retreat, he said. He shook his head in confusion. Both of you die today. As lightning exploded around Naruto's body as he moved. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends to your social media platform. And also, guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Was the Perfect Experiment, and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you guys. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say, get the hell out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.